Hey, it's Dr. Berry. Today I want to talk to you about cheap keto and why that's okay. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you 5 cheap ketogenic foods that won't break the bank, but will keep your belly full. Now, if you enjoy hearing things like this and you think your friends might like hearing this as well, why don't you share this on your social media? It only takes a second, and it really helps me to spread this message to lots more people. So let's talk about cheap keto and why it's okay. Now, everyone would love to be able to afford to eat $42 an ounce virgin salmon wild caught on a full moon, right? But not all of us can afford that. And some of us have to do the best we can do, and that's as good as we're going to do. So it really kind of infuriates me when keto snobs, so to speak, look down upon their people who can't afford that wild-caught salmon, because not all of us can afford that. So what I want to tell you is if you're one of those people who can't afford that, that's okay. You can still eat a ketogenic diet, and you can still reap the massive benefits from that diet for much, much cheaper. You don't have to go to some esoteric Whole Foods grocery and spend $500 in order to eat a good workable ketogenic diet that actually gives you results, okay? So if you've been snobbed by someone because you're eating hot dogs and mustard and they say that's full of whatever and that's whatever, smile and nod and keep eating your hot dogs and mustard if that's the best you can do, okay? Because that's much better than the Cheetos and the Snicker bar that you used to eat, isn't it? That's right. Okay, so stop worrying about being able to spend the money for top-of-the-line ketogenic stuff. Never spend your money on ketogenic supplements, powders, pills, any of that stuff. You don't need any of that. Your hot dogs and mustard work just as good, okay? Trust me. Now, let's talk for just a second about why junk food is so cheap. What's up with that? How are they able to fill up a huge box of Lupio cereal and it costs 42 cents? How's that possible? So the federal government, at least here in the United States, subsidizes farmers to grow corn and wheat and soybean. And you can basically make all of the cheap pseudo foods out of those 3 ingredients, right? The farmers get huge subsidies to grow them, and then the big food manufacturing corporations get the stuff to make their pseudo foods basically for free. And so they're able to make 1,000% profit on those Fruitios because they basically got the wheat or the corn or the soybean for free. Okay, now that's also about exactly as much nutritional value is in there as well. So when you pay 42 cents for that huge box of Fruitios, you're absolutely getting your money's worth. You're getting disease is what you're getting by eating that. So don't think that that's a bargain. It's not a bargain to get a 99-cent burger, which is 99% bun at the drive-through window. That's not a bargain. That's not real food. That just fills your belly up. It'd be a bargain to eat a cardboard box, right? That'd be free. That's not food, so don't do that either. But one's just about as good as the other. So don't worry about not having the money to spend. If you've got a big family, if you're on a fixed income, if you're on government assistance, you can still eat a ketogenic diet and reap the benefits, okay? Now, let's talk about 5 foods that are very keto friendly that you can afford and that you can make 1,000 different recipes out of. My family and I enjoy these all the time, okay? Number 1 is chicken legs. You can buy a huge pack of chicken legs at the grocery for cheap. And they might have a little added something injected. That's totally true. They might have a little preservative or a little of this or that. That's true. But they're still better than the Cheetos and the Snicker bar that you used to eat, right? They've got good fat, they've got good protein, and if you boil those bones, you can make some excellent bone broth, right? So you see, with chicken legs and salt and pepper and a few spices, you can make 50 different recipes and then use the bones to make bone broth. That's a deal. Now, it's not perfect, but it's way the heck better than you used to do, okay? Number 2 is ground beef. And the beauty of this is the higher fat ground beef is actually cheaper than the lean ground beef. And you definitely want to get the highest fat ground beef, the cheapest ground beef you can find. Might it have some preservatives? Yes. Might it have some added fillers or whatever? Yes, it might have that, but it's still better than the Snicker bar you used to eat. Does that, you see where I'm getting with this? It's not perfect, but it's way less bad than eating the standard American diet. Okay, the next one is my personal favorite, eggs. You can buy 2.5 dozen eggs and get each egg for relatively cheap. You can boil 3 of those guys and take them to work, and you've got excellent protein, excellent fat, and you just had lunch for what? I don't know, less than $1? Okay, so you can make 1,000 different things with eggs. You can make them 50 different ways, and you can put them in all kinds of recipes to increase the fat content and the protein content of otherwise not so great food. So if you're on a fixed budget, you need to always have eggs in your fridge. Next is avocado. And for some of you, you're like, whoa, wait, I think those are pretty expensive, right? No, they're actually a lot cheaper than they used to be because the demand is so much higher. So like I said, those 3 boiled eggs and an avocado makes a great ketogenic lunch, and you've spent maybe $3. Okay? You can use avocado, you can bake with them, you can cook with them, you can use them in all kinds of different recipes. They'll thicken a soup like starch, but without the starch. You can use them in so many different ways, and they're not that expensive at all. And the last one on my list, number 5, is greens. Collards, kale, spinach, turnip greens. All these guys are full of nutrition, and they won't knock you out of ketosis, and they're great for your body. And they're relatively expensive. Usually you can buy a huge bag at the big box store for not much at all. And then you can use that for several different meals. You can put them in soup. You can saute them in bacon grease, my personal favorite. You can saute them in bacon grease with eggs, my personal favorite again. You can do all these things with just these 5 different ingredients. With these 5 ketogenic ingredients, you can probably make 2,000 literal different recipe dishes. Okay, so don't let a lack of funds be an excuse for you not to eat a ketogenic diet. You can buy it cheaper. You don't have to buy the most expensive. You don't have to buy organic. If you can, please do. But if you can't, then don't worry about it. Just do the best you can do and don't worry about it, okay? Now, if this message helped you to understand the ketogenic diet and how you can do it even if you're on a budget, please click the little subscribe button. It's right down here somewhere. And there's a little bell beside it. If you click that, you'll get a notification every time that I get a bright idea, and you'll be one of the very first to know about it. This is Dr. Berry. I'll see you next time.